While I do that, Logan, thank you for making time for us this Tuesday. It's I always love having guests of different styles of music, and from what I've seen, just looking into what I could find and listening to your music, I can definitely tell you got a bit of a background in a bunch of different stuff. Like I can hear you probably got a little bit of a metal thing in your past at some point, just with some of those harsh screams we were hearing it earlier in the day, or earlier in I think it was Turn It Up we were checking out right at the start of the stream. But please introduce yourself to everyone. I'm going to switch over to the proper screen so you can be seen and let everyone know who you are, where to find you, and all that fun stuff.
What's up, everyone? I'm Stollgan. You can call me Logan. And I'm a DJ, producer, and artist from Nanaimo, Vancouver Island. I started out making lo-fi beats. I really like to make all kinds of beats, but lo-fi beats were just the easiest thing. And I entered a beat contest for my first song release, so it just kind of worked out that way. And then, yeah, so I've been making lo-fi beats, and then more recently I've been doing more trap metal stuff. Um, I'm also making music with my homie Wilkes, so I'm collaborating with other people. Yeah, I try to keep busy. I've been making new songs every 2 weeks. I might take a little bit of a break now because I'm really busy with university, but yeah, I've been playing shows lately, so that's been really great. My first shows as Stollgan were actually bush parties, like raves and stuff, so I was just DJing before I had enough music to play a full set live. And then yeah, I started out playing hip hop sets, and more recently I just played like a club show. I did a trap metal set there. That was really sick. So yeah, that's pretty much me. I like to make all kinds of beats, so I will probably eventually do some emo trap stuff.
The emo wave is
Um,
back. It's not dead.
yeah. It's like the punk pop, but on trap beats essentially, right? So I'm a really big fan of Josh A and Jake Hill. Um, so those are two really big influences for me. I actually found their song Gucci Cough, and that was like one of the first kind of like trap metal esque songs that I got into. They're not really trap metal artists, but it was kind of a heavier, darker beat that I really fucked with, and yeah, so I look up to those guys and their range, and yeah, so when you look on my Spotify, like if you look at my top 5 songs, like the first song I think right now is Gaslighter. It's a trap metal song. The second one I think is Heads Up, which is a song I produced for Wilkes.
Oh,
I'm just like helping out on the hooks on there, and I produced that beat. And then like one of the top 5 is a song called Moonlit Sea, which is like my second song I ever put out, and that's a lo-fi beat that just really took off. So um, I don't have consistency, unfortunately. So if you go to my Spotify, you get a screaming song, you can get a chill song, but I make playlists, so you can just like listen to all the screaming songs, all the rap songs, all in one place if you want to do it that way.
that's really
Or
cool.
yeah, just hopefully, yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, hopefully you can appreciate like my vast range of talent.
Oh, I lost you briefly. 1 second. One second, everyone. We have lost our guest. I don't know what has happened. Um, things happen. Dude, it's freezing. I'm just letting him know I've lost him on my end. If I could spell lost properly. Ah, shit. You know what? That happens, guys. That happens. What? Let's check out the lo-fi track. While I wait for him to get back. I wait for him to get back in here. Things happen. I've had issues with my fucking internet, off and on, once in a while too, the past few days. So it could be me, but I'm monitoring some things on my end, and things like seems like I'm good. But we'll wait for him to come back, and while we do that, let's check out Moonlit Sea, that lo-fi beat he was talking about that took off. Hello?
Hello?
Hello. Oh, you're back. Good. Good. There we are.
Is my camera back?
No, your camera's not back. I got the big old red Discord screen.
Let me just actually.
Shisha, you're good. You can stay on my lap. You just got to let me have a bit more of my cable. There you go.
Let me just check my settings.
Thing. Sure thing.
Okay. I got the camera setting right, so maybe I just need to enable it in the call.
You could very well just have to do that. Or turn it off and on again.
Boom.
There we go. Hey, don't you love technology sometimes?
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. I got this 2015 MacBook, and like it's got a good processor, but it's only got 8 gigs of RAM, so I can have like 2 Chrome tabs and one other app going, and then it'll just.
It's like, sorry, bro, too much going on right now.
Oh yeah, it happens. Yeah.
As you were saying though,
Anyway.
like we briefly checked out Moonlit Sea while we were waiting for things to come in, and just I loved
Cool.
the vibe coming in. Like it really kind of swooped in and had a really chill thing off the hop. And I was gonna say because you were kind of leading into it, I definitely have mad respect for individuals that have like a vast kind of whether it's knowledge or experience in a variety of different styles of music. Because I find those that are only ever focused on one thing and one style consistently throughout their entire musical career, you can not get stale, but derivative of what you're doing. It's bringing in all of that other stuff and seeing how it all flows and ebbs together that really allows you as an artist to find your voicing. And in your case, the fact that you said that you have a bunch of different styles, but you even make curated playlists based off those styles, that's really cool because that allows you to do what you want to do, but also go in and allow your listeners to kind of latch on to the aspects of it that they like. If they like it all, they can go on your thing and just hit random and go. But if they want a certain vibe, they can go to whichever playlist.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, it definitely the marketing is a bit of an afterthought. Like in the beginning, I used to spend money on Facebook ads and stuff, and then I realized like if I'm just sending this music to strangers in their news feed, like.
Sorry, I realized that was the cable, so I was listening. I just want to swap this out because I was getting a really annoying electronic buzz. Oh, he froze again. I thought he got all quiet for me because I was changing my cable. God damn. No, guys, while we wait, I'm gonna play more of the track. Let's do that. I'm gonna turn my gain all the way back up, and we're gonna enjoy a bit of that track here.
We're just gonna do this, I guess.
It's all good, man. It happens. Sometimes you just got to go with what works, even if it's doesn't hit the quality you personally want on it. I love using all of my stuff.
I think it's this camera, I bet, because like I said, it was crashing Discord with the filters, so I'm willing to bet it's just not playing nicely with my computer for some reason.
That happens. That happens. But go
Let's
on,
see if
as
I
you
can-
were saying.
What was I saying?
Oh, shit. We were talking about the different uses of music and how you don't. It's not something you think about when you go into marketing. It's just, I'm guessing, more so been an afterthought and after product of everything. Check. Oh.
There we go. That's a little better.
There we go.
Yeah. So like, Oh yeah, that's what I was saying is with the ads, like it's kind of useless targeting random people. So I essentially, when I started, I was doing some YouTube videos. I wanted to take that angle because I look up to a lot of YouTube producers. It is very time consuming. I'm definitely quite camera shy, so it's difficult to make those videos. But if I had all the time in the world, I'd put out a song or a video for every song, talking about the process and stuff. Maybe someday, but yeah, just no time right now. Um, but yeah, so like essentially, I'm just like kind of relying on shows now to spread the word of mouth and just the good homies. Like I've been playing some kind of like mixed genre shows around town. I got some friends in a band called Danger Box. Like they're fresh out of high school and they're really great guys and they'll have me open their shows, but they're like a punk post-hardcore band. So
Danger
we
Box
just
is
have
really
like
dope.
yeah, they're great. Finn's awesome. Love all those dudes, and yeah, so I'm really grateful for them putting me on and letting me like play to different crowds that I normally wouldn't get to play to. I did get to play like a more like a regular hip hop show with my buddy Wilkes because he booked a show at the Nanaimo bar, and that was a proper hip hop show. So that was like my first proper hip hop show. But
Oh, cool.
I have connections. I have connections with bands, and from when I used to be in bands, so I kind of take advantage of that just for more opportunities. And yeah, like because of my vast array of music, that's the thing is like I can play trap metal for metal bands. I can play lo-fi for like I don't know indie bands or something. Like
Yeah.
I have that range, so I can tailor it to any show. And yeah, I like to play on that. So it's my thing.
Dude, that's fucking awesome. When did you, I guess, transition from doing the band thing to the DJ thing? Like, when about did that happen for you?
So I would say the beat making started well. I was kind of on the last tour with Tom Hills. So I started, I was really getting into making beats on that last tour I did with Tom Hills. And then when I finished the tour, I released my first song, Gone Fishing.
I thought you
And
looked familiar. I thought you did because I'm good
yeah,
buddies with Chandler and Tyler. So, because they're from my neck of the woods. So the name sounded familiar, and then your face looked familiar. I'm like, I can't place it. Maybe it's just so many faces they blend. But no, Tama Hills, that was man some good music. The situation that led to that end was shitty, but I just want to say musically, you guys had some good fucking shit going, and it's a shame what happened, but it's great to see that you're doing something after everything. Because I imagine, for those that don't know, we're not going to dive too deep into it, but long story short, Tama Hills had to call it quits due to unfortunate circumstances, I guess would be the nicest way of saying it, I guess, right?
yeah.
And so, as a lot of people may or may not, like that's a hard thing to deal with because a lot of people like Chandler, Tyler, yourself, you guys are putting a lot of work into that. Like I remember there was a lot of momentum going for you guys, and then what happened, and it was like, well, fuck, like that's really shitty. But like all the other guys, like that's even worse for them because they're the ones that were like really pushing it, like you, Chandler, to like to as an observer and just a listener, it really seemed like without all of that, like you guys were also putting in so much fuel and so much time into that, and it was noticeable because knowing Chandler and Tyler, they're not individuals that'll just jump into anything. Like they're very much like we want to take a stab at something if we're doing this, and I imagine that might be the same for you. I'm not necessarily sure. It's up to you on what you want to talk about on that, but I wanted to just give those in the chat a little bit of at least a little bit of, I guess, understanding of the situation there. And with that, again, huge props to you for doing your thing after that. I think that's huge. A lot of people can kind of get really defeated by those situations, and it can be a huge crossroad for a lot of people. Not just musicians, anyone who comes in a situation like that in a business can, I think, be a huge crossroad for them. And props to you for keeping going.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, like things were kind of blowing up before the last tour, and so my buddy Zach and I, the guitarist, we were like, do we do this last tour? Because it was planned and everything, and we had like a bit of a fill-in drummer situation. We had to get AJ from with Conviction to join last minute.
Dude,
Yeah,
degrees of
that was
separation.
crazy.
Degrees of separation.
Yeah.
He filled in for my band for Loud as Hell 2 years ago. So he's
Oh,
a
yeah.
fucking sweetheart. I love AJ.
Yeah, AJ is a G. Um, but yeah, so like we almost didn't go on this tour. We talked about it, and we were kind of like, well, like I don't know, like we're in this together. We're gonna get through this experience, and there's gonna be crappy parts, but it's a tour, so there's gonna be fun parts. And like definitely glad at the end of the day that I did this tour because we went all the way to Eastern Canada this time. So it was more of a full Canada tour, not the whole Canada, but
And
a
that's
lot
hard to
of it.
do, too.
So, mhm.
That's really hard to do.
Yeah.
All the people I've talked to that have done that go, not necessarily not again, like the ones that had really good shows in the main metropolises or even some of the small towns out east were like, hell yeah. But a lot of bands that had that and just can't do the travel because there's a lot of that. There's a lot of traveling in that. They're just like, shows were great. Fuck the
Yeah.
distance between everything, though.
Yeah, the longest drive I think was like over 20 hours. And that was one show that we missed on tour. And if we didn't stop, we took like a 2 or 3 hour nap at a gas station. If we didn't do that, we would have made the show, but it was over 20 hours of driving and we had already played a show.
You got to be
So
safe.
what do you
got to
do?
be
Fall asleep
safe.
at the wheel? Like, yeah, you got to be safe. So that was a bummer, but it is what it is.
What
Yeah.
was it for you then? Because I guess knowing that, unlike most people that just go, band fell apart and is what it is, and keep on, for you it was a bit of a different situation because, again, there was a lot of momentum at that time.
Yeah.
What was it like for you transitioning? Because if I'm not mistaken, this all happened, was it pandemics fucked with time, like perspective of time? But this was all
Right.
like right before.
2019.
Yeah.
2019, Gone Fishing came out in October. I think the tour was done in like October or something like that. So I pretty much left the band as that tour ended and then dropped the song all around the same time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So it was pretty much like an immediate transition and it was already a work in progress. Like I was making beats. I was just making a ton of beats while I was on tour every day. And then once I got like it just I kind of just fell in love with that because like I really wanted to like have my own sort of band. Like Tom Hills was great. Like it was a very well planned out band and stuff, and that's what I loved about it is it felt so professional. But ultimately I was like I want to play deathcore, so I like heavier music. But like I don't know, I was here for it because we had the breakdowns and I got to like write my own bass parts for the new songs and stuff too, so that was cool. But yeah, crap, I keep losing my trail of thought.
No, don't even worry about it. It's okay. So you already had like we're in the middle of the transition as you were like exiting. So when the pandemic hit a few months later for you, what I guess what was your game plan? Did you go in thinking there was going to be a whole lot of time and just kind of buckled down and worked on things? Were you kind of more optimistic and then had to adjust as time went on? Like, what was your process of growth as an artist throughout that time? Because I know a lot of people dived into things either they had dabbled in or had thought of dabbling in and just ended up going headfirst due to time. And I'm curious what your journey was like throughout all that.
Well, yeah, so like when I started out, those first few songs are the songs that I released, like how I made the song videos for. So like in my beginning stages, I was very inspired by YouTube producers like Andrew Huang, Simon Servita, and like some of them put out music on Spotify and stuff. So I just wanted to do that. Like Simon Servita's got instrumentals, he's got tracks where he's rapping, where he's singing. So like I was like, well, I don't know if they can do it and then they just make the video content to support the music, and it's like a personal brand kind of thing. So like that's essentially what I want to do, because I don't want to have limitations. And so really there was not a specific plan. Like I did Gone Fishing, Moonlit Sea, and then I'm pretty sure Long Gone was the third song I put out. And obviously there's no ramp up to that. That was just like, hey, let's see what I can do. The beat for Long Gone was a collaboration with a friend, and yeah, I just wanted to use the beat. I honestly, like, I wish I could say I'm a more well planned and executed musician and artist, but there's nothing to it. I put out the music that I feel, and I try to put it in front of the people who might listen to it, and essentially hope for the best. But I've kind of changed up my lane, in that I'm not here to be the best at anything. I'm not here to try to rise up with the stars. Like, I'm here to have a good time and put out the music that I enjoy, and marketing and all that's an afterthought, because when I spend too much time on marketing, promoting myself and such, I burn out and I lose my love for it. And if I just keep putting out music, I kind of get this momentum inside, and that keeps me excited about the music. But as soon as I take all of that energy and reinvest it into just the, like, okay, how do I get my numbers up? How do I, that's when I crash. So
that's something a lot of artists can get burnt out on, especially a lot of like single artists or even like duos, especially during the pandemic, because I guess having a plan, I was more so meaning that loosely, because it was just more of a way to keep sanity for everyone. Like, keep active, keep going, and just do what we're doing. And even just looking at your discography, you can tell, like, that's just what you did. You just put out what you could. Honestly,
like, when you look at my discography, it's very much a reflection of me as a person in my life. And so, like, the plan is essentially how my life is going. And you can tell when I'm doing really well in life because I'm putting out a lot of music. So that, like, I always say, like, I'm my happiest when I'm doing lots with music. So like lately I've been putting out songs every 2 weeks, and for the most part I've been feeling better than ever. So but yeah, there's gaps. Like, since I've started with music in 2019, there's gaps where there's months at a time with no music. And the explanation would just be one life event or another. And and then there's times where I'm putting out songs every month or a couple months or so. And then I guess so, like, in the beginning, maybe I did have a bit of thought of, like, let me try to propel this lo-fi angle, because there's a lot of Spotify playlist promo that you can do for lo-fi music really easy. And I have a song that has over 20,000 streams, and I haven't spent a single penny on promoting it, but just a little bit of time to send it to the right people who want to hear it and add it to their playlist, and then more people hear it. So that's really cool.
Luck, and one thing I've noticed, like, just putting stuff out, like, I noticed, there's the occasional EP or LP, but there's a whole lot of singles as well. And like you said, the music being a reflection of the person, you can even tell that with titles and artwork kind of giving you initial vibe before you get into it. And
that's what I try to hope for, is the artwork will give you the vibe, because I'd love to be like, oh, this is this kind of genre on every song. And I do that when I upload my songs to YouTube. Like, when you went to YouTube, you saw Long Gone was like trap metal sort of thing. But I'm also not even that consistent with my YouTube channel either. So
hey, it's a hard thing to do when you're doing it on your own, because there's a whole lot more to it. And like you said, you're better when you are focusing on the parts of it you like, and the other aspects of it you get to when you can, but they're not a primary focus. And I think that's what artistry is. Like, you can try to take your stabs at doing, like, the big things, as I guess, like just trying to move up in the levels and getting bigger shows or whatever. But fundamentally, if you're not finding ways to just enjoy what you do first and knowing how that works, if you ever do shift to the other, like, I guess, objective of what the music's going for, you're not even going to be happy about it. And you're not going to create anything that's worth actually putting that money into. Versus for yourself, I'm sure at any point in time in your future, if you decided, you know what, this song or this video or this batch of songs, I'm going to put a little bit behind it just because fuck it. Just because I have a vibe about this one and I just want to try something for the hell of it. That'll probably do you better than the guys that are sitting at home trying to be like, all right, so if we hit these ones and then we send it here and they get it on these platforms, maybe we can guarantee on like 5-10% of their viewers actually checking it out and a few of them going here and seeing how, like, a lot of people get really analytical on how they try to grow their fan bases. And if you're into that, cool, power to you. That's a fuck ton more numbers than I want to deal with. But it's yeah, but you have to enjoy it. Like, you have to enjoy the things you're doing for it to be successful.
100%. And ultimately, that's what I'm here for, is like a long time and a good time. And like, unfortunately, that means sacrifices in itself. And I love music. I love making music. I've been in bands since I was in middle school. My first instrument was piano when I was in kindergarten. So like, I'm really, and especially now, being more invested in like mental health and such, like I'm all for like, how can this, benefit my life and not detract from it? And so ultimately for me, that means I have to accept that, like, I can't do this marketing shit on my own. Like, I'd love to have a team. I'd love to have a videographer. I'd love to have all of those people, but like, either you meet the right people or you got the money for it, and I don't have the money for it. So I'm doing this shit on my own. I'm doing my best at it. If I got time to do a video, I do a video, but otherwise, like, I put the songs out and that's me. Like,
that's good. That's probably the most real you can be, especially as a solo artist, going at it yourself. You're just humbly putting your stuff forward and doing your thing, for lack of a better term. I do have a few more questions, because you brought up like your background with instruments, but before we do that, is there any song that you want us to quickly check out, either on YouTube or on Spotify?
Well, so you put on Turn It Up, you put on Moonlit Sea, you put on Long Gone.
Yeah.
I would say if there's one other song that really shows like a different side, would probably be Green Enough.
Green Enough? Okay. There it is right there. Ooh. Okay.
And there's a lyric video for that one, so.
Cool. Well, I'll pull well, if that's the case, let me pull up the lyric video first. Stollgan and Cameron Coast, Green Enough. And before we play that, I'm actually going to share the screen with you here so that you can enjoy it as well. And here we go. If anyone in the chat has any questions as well, please feel free to throw them out there. This is chill.
My friend Cameron Clay singing and playing guitar.
have to say quickly, this has a completely different vibe. Like, this is really chill. It's got like a indie rock. It kind of reminds me of like something Feist would have done back in the day. Like, not necessarily Feist, but like that era of like indie, really stripped back, chill. Maybe a hint of melancholy in there, but it's got like really happy overtones to it, where it's more like an atmospheric thing versus a in-your-face vibe. Like, it's cool, and the video is really interesting too. Like,
Thank you.
I dig it.
Shout out
Who did the
Fiverr.
video?
If you check the description, I think I put their name in it.
Oh
I can't
shit,
remember.
guys,
Yeah.
take note.
But yeah,
Take
it's
note.
like hand drawn lyric video
By Sam
Yeah,
Creative Studios.
If you need something good and cheap, check out Fiverr. I think I had to get one revision done for like a spelling error, but yeah, this only took like, I don't know, less than a week, maybe like 3 or 5 days to have made. So
That's solid. Here, let's get more of this going. That's really cool. Fiverr coming through. That's dope.
absolutely, like always support the local homies if you can. But like, I don't know, I'm pretty sure anyone local making something like this is gonna charge like 500, not what I paid, which was probably like less than 100, I think.
All right, cool. Well, we're gonna
Yeah.
check this out here. We're gonna get more in because we still got a bit of time here. Let's go. Go gaming. I'll get back to you after the stream here, buddy. Okay, honestly, no, that is like the perfect just sit down, chill after work and toke song. Not like that. That just hits all the vibes. Like, you had a bad day at work, you just want to take a fat bong rip, chill out, throw that on. You're good.
Oh yeah. Thanks, man.
No problem. I guess how many instruments like can you play? Because you said you started with piano. Like, how many instruments can you play? And kind of like what was like the path of transition in between all of them?
Okay, so piano first. I got up to like grade 1 or 2, or level 1 or 2, I think it's grade, piano, and then I was like not feeling the piano because like I was kind of getting into heavier music, and so my dad was playing acoustic guitar and he was getting lessons, so I kind of started taking lessons with him. And then like I was like, cool, guitar, like I can play some acoustic guitar, but I'm learning chords, like I'm still not learning the songs I want to learn. So the guitar teacher was actually a bass player mainly, so
Oh, cool.
I switched to bass. And meanwhile, this was all happening while I was in grade 6. So the band program started at school, and in band I was learning clarinet. So I got half a year of clarinet. If I picked it up again, I could not make a sound. But I was so sick of playing that clarinet because I don't know, for the first 3 or 5 days I could not make a sound on the thing, and then all of a sudden I could, and it was so easy. And I was like I'm bored. So I was like, yeah, I got to do something else. And I tried out for bass because I was learning bass. I did not get bass. So I was like, this ain't it. Like, I got to get out of the clarinet. And I tried out for drums. And you had to like show up to multiple like practices and then do testing. And then the band teacher would pick the drummer. I ended up winning that because
Oh,
you know I
shit.
had a fair shot, but not the band teacher's pick or whatever. So I ended up being a drummer for band while I was also taking bass lessons outside of band. Um, so I was developing my rhythm skills in band class in school, and then I was like kind of like learning, you know, metal, like learning how to like make songs. Like I was just playing riffs on my bass. Like I was playing power chords before I knew what they were, and just like making dumb little 1 minute songs and stuff. And I definitely think that had a big hand in my songwriting abilities. Was literally just like my interest for it from the very beginning, even though I didn't realize that's what it was at the time. But yeah, so I had the bass and I had the drums, and then I think come grade 6, grade 7, or grade 8, I started doing vocals as well because I started doing like talent show cover bands. I had some friends and we would learn a couple of songs. Like we were trying to be a band, but you know, not there yet. So we learned a couple of covers, play the talent show sort of thing. Um, and yeah, so like I think maybe by grade 7 or grade 8, we did like a metal song, and I learned how to do metal vocals, and definitely took a long time. Definitely have lost my voice many times in the process of doing this, but I'm finally at a point where if I've warmed up my voice, I can scream for hours at a time. And if I'm doing it every day, I won't lose my voice. But generally, I will go weeks without recording a song, and then I will use my screaming voice, and I will lose my voice.
Yep. Nope. Been there. Done
I
that
don't
one.
practice enough. I don't practice enough. So if you're trying to like be a deathcore vocalist or whatever, you're trying to do the crazy stuff, you got to do that every day. Otherwise, it's not going to stick.
And you gotta
The
warm up.
techniques will stick. Yeah, exactly. The techniques will stick, but your body will just not work.
It's
Your
like
body
any
will
other muscle.
not produce the sounds you want. It's the
It-
muscles that because it's in your diaphragm and stuff too, right? So if you got a weak diaphragm, if you're not exercising your diaphragm, then you're gonna lose your vocal abilities.
100%. So much truth to that. That's why I always advise vocalists at least get one lesson from a vocal coach, at least one, so you can learn some proper fundamentals, because those fundamentals are going to take you so far, especially if you already kind of figured out some things, because you might be shown what you're not doing correctly, or just what you're not adding and what you're not being aware of, because especially as a vocalist, you know, like this, it's all about knowing where certain things are, like where that is, and being able to
because like when you know what feels right, you can give her, and you know you're not going to hurt yourself. But yeah, no, quite often what it is if you're doing it for the first time in a while, like even if you have the technique in your memory, you'll overcompensate. You'll be like excited or whatever, and you'll want to do the loudest scream you possibly can, and you'll be like, I need to push as much air as I can or whatever in order to achieve the best scream, when really that's not the case. It's just the right amount of air with the right throat formation and diaphragm push and yada yada. Like I'm no expert. Like I can't even speak to techniques so much because I've never had a lesson. My experience comes from Zen of Screaming, as I'm sure many vocalists do. But like the big takeaway I got from Zen of Screaming was you for your high vocals, you do the Marge Simpson. So it's like the and then right, and then that's your fries. So like it's belting the Marge Simpson voice, and then for your false chords, for your deep vocals, it's a grunt with extra air essentially. So you got your kind of thing, and like but like you might think you need to tense up more, and then I don't even know how that happens.
It's adrenaline mainly,
and it's adrenaline, especially at shows. You might be practicing for hours with like your band or whatever, and then you go play a show for half an hour.
It's all out the door.
Your voice because you can't hear yourself enough. Like the sound guy sucks, so you got no monitors or whatever, like you're belting it to try to hear yourself better, and then
Me
at
at
the
my
end you're
first
like,
show post-pandemic and wondering why I couldn't do vocals for a month after. Granted, it was smoky, but like first show back, spent all the time practicing. Moment we hit the stage, everything just went out the fucking window because like adrenaline, show, stage, movement, all the movement.
Yeah. And like when you have that adrenaline too, I've had many bad stage experiences that could have been salvaged if it weren't for my own adrenaline and anxiety about the performance. So there's probably been many a times where I'm like, yeah, it sounds fine, like let's go, like we're supposed to start now kind of thing. But when like really it would have been a way better show, even to like accept having to play one less song to take a few extra minutes to tweak the sound for it to be ideal.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like being able to hear yourself in the monitors will make all the difference with the performance. And especially as a vocalist, especially if you don't have in-ear monitors, as most probably don't. So,
or if even if you don't have a proper in-ear mix, because there's a lot of front of house guys that still aren't used to dealing with that, because that's something that for the longest time was relegated to the bigger shows. We're playing the underground. What do you mean IEMs? Shit.
Yeah. Try to do that shit yourself if you can.
Yeah. And that's not an insult to anyone. It's for a lot of people, it is a new thing that's just starting to become popular now, and I love it. I think the bands that utilize it are far tighter for it.
Yeah. I think a lot of sound guys just got used to like backtracks being a normal thing, so we're working our way up here.
Yeah, we are getting there, which is fantastic. What's your favorite show? What throughout all of the time you've been playing music, what is your favorite show to have played?
Favorite show that I played is Stollgan, or is any
as an artist on your journey?
That's pretty tough because I don't know. I have a hard time with like number oneing any given experience, or like, picking a number one favorite. But I can say like one of my favorite experiences for sure was the Tom Hill show opening for Children of Bodom. Because like I don't think I've played a venue that big since then. And that was just really cool, like opening for so many like diverse bands. Like that was a really diverse show, and then just being able to say that I opened for Children of Bodom, like a band that I've listened to since I was young, that's super awesome.
Not only that, one of the last bands to do it too now, just due to the circumstance with Lexi and his passing. Like that's like,
right. Yeah, I almost forgot.
Like that's a cool thing to kind of have there. Like it's shitty to say it, like one of the last ones due to passing of like one of the band members or the head founding guy, but for just a musician, like that's I think we take a lot of things for granted as musicians and the opportunities we get, big and small, because I don't think a lot of us really take to heart how, and I mean this with no disrespect to all of us as musicians, but destructive the music industry as a whole is to us as individuals, especially throughout the era that we were growing up and being inspired by it. We're starting to see changes, I feel, and we're starting to kind of see more focus being put on what's important. I find like mental health is far more relevant now in entertainment as a whole. But I find a lot of us learning that the things we grew up, not so much idolizing, but knowing to be the way of the trade, aren't necessarily A, the right way to go about things, and B, that healthy way to go about things, not necessarily just for your like body, but for your own mental health. Like we've seen a lot of artists really get dragged through the mud of constantly being on tour, constantly working themselves. And I think that's something even us as underground musicians, we kind of fall into that trap sometimes, being like, I need to be constantly working on something. If I'm not working on something, it's time wasted. And acknowledging to take time away for yourself, I think, is huge, that we're putting more focus on that nowadays, I think.
Yeah. Like I always kind of recognize that like so much art is based from trauma, and like so many artists are not neurotypical people. Like so when you look at like a lot of um big artists and stuff, you might think like, gosh, this person like they must have it all together or whatever, because like now they have the money to support what they want to do and they can just keep doing it and have happiness. But like for like they're experiencing the exact same battles that any, well, not the exact same battles, but like they're dealing with a lot of the same internal battles as someone would on a smaller scale. um so um
And
so
arguably, depending on the platform, like how large of a platform they have as an artist, they might be dealing with even more weight now as not necessarily being a martyr, but a
yeah,
representative of their listeners' traumas and their listeners' experiences, because through those traumas, there's connection, but also, and I don't know necessarily how to verb it, but as an artist, not every word that is written is meant as connection. Sometimes it's meant as reflection and as purging, getting something out of oneself so that it no longer exists in here or in here and can just be there, and then exputed out when it is needed to, so that that thing can be disengaged, can be kind of not remedied, but can be quelled and contained. And I think for some artists, if that's how they go about all of their songs, or even some songs, and someone comes up to them and connects to them on that, it's good that you are like connecting, you're taking something from that, you're finding out a way to get through whatever you're getting through. But also, that's a lot of weight to put on the individual as well. And not saying it's wrong, just acknowledging that is weight being put on to whomever, if they're actually actively acknowledging it.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, didn't mean to get introspective and deep on that one.
Yeah, no, we went pretty deep there.
But in the
All
end,
good.
like,
That's how it be sometimes.
artist expression, though, like you said, like when you're putting music out, you're good. When you're not,
Yeah,
it's because you're probably taking time for yourself. You're not good. You're in your whatever slump. And I think it's good that we are, like, you and other artists are starting to understand that and reflect that and take that time away and not feel the urge to be forced to just grind. I think that's one benefit of the pandemic. I think due to how long it took and due to just the uncertainty of when things were going to start allowing like live shows again, or actually getting out and doing things, it really forced a lot of perspective, being like, fuck, when it happens, it happens. I'm just going to enjoy what I do, when I do it, how I do it, and whatever comes, whatever goes.
yeah, yeah. And when I started doing songs, like I think that was, yeah, right at the beginning of the pandemic, 2020. And I remember taking like a month off work, and I wanted to just put all my time into music. And I don't know, I think having all the time in the world was actually like the most crippling thing. I did a few kind of like vlogs during that time, and probably a bit of music, but like really at the end of it, I had like nothing to show for myself. And yeah, so that's funny. And so yeah, like I guess like music for me, um, and part of like why I don't put all my eggs in that basket is because I've kind of come to terms with the fact that if I were one of those big artists, I could not sustain that. Like I would lose it.
It's
I
too much.
like for yeah, exactly. For like any time where I've tried to make music my entire life, I go crazy. I talk about wanting music to be my entire life, but really I just want to have creative freedom. I just want to be able to sit down on my computer, make a song anytime I please. I'd love to have that kind of freedom. Um but yeah, I lost my trail of thought again.
No worries. No worries
Yeah.
whatsoever. Now I'm trying to think of where I want to go with that, because I think we've hit a lot of things, which is really good. What are
This
you
is a
looking
great
forward to
university.
going in, like
What am I
going to
looking
the end of
forward to?
2022, going into 2023? What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to finishing my diploma at VIU, Vancouver Island University, or yeah. I'm like, wait, that's Nanaimo. No, it is Vancouver Island University. Um, I'm looking forward to finishing school so that I can get a better job that will allow me to do a bit more, maybe have some money to do some more cool things with music, and yeah, and then just not be so limited with my schedule, so that I can take any shows and who knows, maybe go on tour someday, or um, yeah, just just keep doing what I'm doing, because I got to keep doing it, or otherwise I will lose my mind.
No, that is fair. What are you going to school for?
Social services.
Fuck
Could
yeah.
you tell? I mentioned trauma.
Yeah, no, it's. I feel like that is a part of the community as a whole that needs more good people in it. As someone who's
Absolutely.
definitely like been around the social service system for a good chunk of my adolescent life, the more good people within that system, the better, because it takes. It may be odd to say this for some that haven't really dealt with a lot of things, but I fundamentally do believe it takes people that have actually dealt with trauma, like the variety of traumas that one can deal with, to be able to properly understand and connect with the individuals that are going through that at a young age. Because if you don't, then there is a huge disconnect. There's a level of misunderstanding and just that's the nicest way of putting it. And I feel like, especially when I was a kid, like growing up in the early 2000s, that's what led to a lot of kids getting misdiagnosed with a lot of shit. That's what ended up with a lot of kids ending up in less than great circumstances just based off placement or however. Like, it's a service I hope seeing more good people like yourself getting into, and I'm hoping that it sees some more growth, funding, and expansion, because I find it's going to become more and more crucial as time goes on.
Yeah, we can only hope, right? Funding is definitely the big thing. I'm excited to see how it goes, because like the reason I'm going to school for social services is because I thought really long and hard about it. I'm 25 now, so this is a 2-year diploma. I think I signed up for this when I was 23 or so. Um, but um, but yeah, like I thought about what would I do if I don't do school for music for school, because I've always been self-taught. I've never really had any interest in going to school for music, and social services was the other big one. Um, so I'm really liking everything I'm learning. I'm really hoping that once I get a job, like, I'm still happy with it, because if not, then I'm like, ah, crap, we're back to square one here. But I don't know. I'll always have music, and I'll always be happy so long as I'm doing that. But definitely in this economy, need something a little bit better than a lower skill job, so that I can pay the bills and kind of take things to the next level.
What's your major within social services or the social work?
There, it, I'm only doing like a 2-year diploma, so there's no specialty.
It's just an overall
But
broad.
there is so I am like selecting a lot of my electives for second year. I think I picked like 4 electives or something like that. So like there is a little bit of leeway for each person to do their own thing. Like some classmates are doing like animal therapy, some are doing indigenous studies, some are doing history.
Okay.
There's all sorts of different stuff. So, but yeah, and then like right now I'm taking a trauma class, um, and that's been like the biggest eye opener for sure. Definitely, it's definitely problematic when you um, hear about organizations that claim to be trauma informed and stuff, or use trauma informed practice, and can't back that up at all. Like I think someone said Island Health here The hospitals are like supposed to be trauma informed, but there's no training for that or whatever. Someone I know told me that their work's hiring, and it's a low barrier housing service. And for something low barrier, you're mostly like almost always going to be working with traumatized people, and like in those situations, like being trauma informed is like very important. And they couldn't find any mention of needing that on the job application, so that was concerning to me. And then like I had a guest speaker at school, she said same thing, like her organization says that they're supposed to be trauma informed, but they're going through a big expansion right now and they're not keeping up with everything, so there's a lack of consistency there as well. So yeah, when you look at like all of these essential services, and it's like, oh, they they're not, like, obviously funding's an issue. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure if everyone had surplus funding, then they'd be like, here, go get your trauma training. But yeah, that's why I'm getting taught this stuff in school, is so that I don't have to be taught from an employer. And but yeah, like, unfortunately, just so many people have been in this field for a long time. Things have changed, but they have not upped their training and their knowledge enough to realize that they might be part of re-traumatization.
And
So yeah.
it comes with the growth and the development of it too. I don't feel a lot of focus was really put on it a whole lot, even 15 years ago. So it takes people going into it with the right intention to force a change, on top of hopefully organizations and governments realizing that these are institutions and services that need that funding. Because fundamentally, I do believe that if things like that have more funding, we are going to see it positively impact society on a whole, and could actually take care of a lot of fundamental issues that we deal with outside of poverty and income inequality, all of that. But when it comes down to just like those things, the human aspect of like growing up in these situations, helping these kids in these moments be able to grow into people that can actually, what I'm looking for here, be a part of society and have a chance at it, instead of possibly falling into traps that, I don't want to say aren't their fault, but weren't provided the proper resources to recognize what path they're going down. And I think that's a huge thing that's starting to get looked at. And like you said, more funding would really help with that too. And I hope in your time in the profession there, should you continue on it for however long you go down it, I hope that not only are you successful at it, but I hope that the changes needed come with it as
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It, it's kind of funny because as I've been like learning about how to you know, work with traumatized individuals, it's not, I don't know, it's comparable to how like you really gotta have patience, you know, like almost like a young kid or whatever. Like, obviously you don't want to talk to them in a baby voice or whatever, um but like it's really like that, just fundamental, be present, and you know, do the right thing for them, not what you like, not like, you got to cast aside your own judgment, you got to try to really understand, not
empathy.
like, and not assume, but like really seek to understand what they're going through, so that you can actually figure out what would help them. Because the worst thing you can do is tell someone what they need, and they're only going to resent you for it.
Yeah, and just being able to, again, knowing how to properly not mold, but give these people the resources they need, because there's a variety of things you'll deal with in the social work program, and a variety of different backgrounds, and being able to deal with each and every one. It's going to be its own unique, complex situation. But coming from that area of empathy and understanding and casting your own, not reservations, but like you said, your own perspective on things aside when it's necessary, just to really understand where the situation is for them, because that is a hard thing for young developing minds at that moment. Is if something extreme happens, there is so much going on in their head where the idea of like processing anything even minutely can go out the door if they're, I hate this word, but triggered, because it's very easy to bring up those things that they're dealing with and hyper accentuate it and like amplify it to a point of what's the word I'm looking for, just to a point where they like, you can't communicate with them. They're just like, you got to let them pull themselves out, work themselves out of whatever state they're in so they can come back down to another level. But that in itself is such an extreme process, because depending on the kid, age, whatever, oh man, it could, you could have a time. Best of luck.
Yeah.
I'm now remembering all the hell I gave like my old social worker back in the day and being like, sorry for whatever you might deal with, man. But heart's in the right place, and that's what matters, because being present is definitely what they remember as well.
Yeah, I got kind of distracted. There's a question. Does my sense of empathy inspire my music?
I just saw that.
Very cool question. I don't know, like I would say if you go check out my one and only album, which is really just 6 songs times 2, those lyrics, I am very much I'm very much like digging into some personal stuff there, and like I don't know, like a lot of it is about kind of like escaping a dark past and stuff, but
Is
at
it
the
the
same
Down to
time
Earth
I
album?
also like, yeah, Down to Earth Anniversary Edition.
Okay.
So yeah, like I don't know, like I talk a lot, like I talk about like repressed memories and stuff, like reminiscing of childhood bliss, but at the same time, like I also talk about like having a lot of love for my parents and stuff. So it's a bit polarizing, because like I recognize that like a lot of like my personal darkness comes from like where I come from essentially, but at the same time I also have like a lot of love and appreciation for how I was raised and that. So like there's a level of empathy there, because I had to like overcome that darkness in order to like, you know, be able to embody that and feel that love and appreciation. So
No,
but that's just like one example. I could probably think of more, but yeah, that's like probably some of the most like personal, vulnerable lyrics that I have. And I always like, for everything that I write lyrically, I always try to be very like upfront and forward about how I write. Like my lyrics are sometimes in ways of code, but usually it's like pretty straightforward as well.
no, that's good. And like you, the perspective, and just like I think the best way to bring it is, we don't control how we're raised in any way. So even though there's, for some that can be bad, there's also a lot of good in there too, because not everything that happens in life is done with malicious intent. A lot of things that happen in life.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's like the big takeaway for me, is the intent. Like and especially when it comes to working with other people and stuff, like you might have someone who you think that they're being harsh towards you or whatever, and you got to look past that if you can, like ideally, and say like, okay, what's their intent? Because you know, maybe they're giving you a harsh criticism or whatever, but really like the intent is like they admire your work and they want to see you do better at it, and they are not good at, you know, using polite words or whatever, and that's something that they should work on as well.
Oh yeah.
But for you, you can work on seeing through that and realizing that that person meant well, and there doesn't need to be a conflict from it just because you have a bodily reaction that's different.
100%. Logan, I want to say it is almost 9:30. You have been with us for a solid hour, so I don't want to take any more of your time, but I do want to say thank you. And is there anything else that you briefly want to talk about before we let you go on your way?
I'll probably be dropping like a lo-fi Christmas song with my buddy Kinu. I do that every year, so if you want to check that out, you have to go through my singles, but I have 2 lo-fi Christmas songs out with him, one from each past year, and yeah, there will be one this year. And come 2023, I'll be dropping some trap metal songs with Wilkes again, so some really cool stuff there. And yeah, I got some like new stickers, new merch on the way, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, new music all the time. Like I said, I probably won't drop any songs for a little bit because of school, but I'll have that Christmas one out, and then hopefully 2023 I'll be back at it again more consistently.
Hell yeah. Where can everyone find you? What's your handle? Where are you most active? Where can people just go and find stuff? I know we've been on Spotify and YouTube.
Yeah. For social media, I'm most active on Facebook, like my personal profile. Like if you want to be buddies, you can add me there, Logan Stall. But I have a Facebook page, Stollgan, Stollgan. It's my last name and first name combined, by the way.
Nice.
And then yeah, Stollgan Lol. Yeah, it came from like high school actually. But yeah, so like Instagram, same thing, at Stollgan, TikTok at Stollgan. I post on TikTok sometimes, not all the time, but I know that there's potential there and I have to unlock it.
I believe in you.
Thank you. I don't use Twitter, but if you're like, I only use Twitter, you follow me there and let me know, and I'll try to post things for you more often. Yeah, that's
get it
pretty
while
much
you can, because soon
Stollgan
Elon's
on
going to be
everything.
like, no, unless you pay me that $8, no one sees your shit. And I don't know how much longer Twitter's going to be there, guys, but you know, while it's there, just have fun.
Have fun.
Logan, it's been fantastic having you on the show. I want to say thank you. It's been great. I'd love to have you on again, but I don't want to take up any more of your time because, like you said, you are a student. I'm sure you have things you have to do.
Always busy. But I'm on reading week, so this was the perfect timing for me.
That's wonderful. One last question for you. What song do you want us to send you out on?
Oh, okay, I got it. Glitch Gang by Dropout Kings.
Dropout Kings.
Gives y'all some trap metal, but it has some like real shit in it too. So if you haven't heard this one, it's a banger. It'll get stuck in your head for sure.
Did I put Dropout Kings by mistake? Okay. Glitch Gang, Dropout Kings. Hell yeah! I'll put this on. Watch this together, and then I will let you go on your merry way, my friend. Thank you.
Fuck the discussion, there's no need to beg it. We don't want the bread, know what's off with your head. There's a glitch in the system. If you blink when he did his thing, then you missed him. Rebel King, a handful of rigs who can kiss them. R.I.P. W6C if you diss him. There's a glitch in the system. Microchip tricks, fake flips to the friction. 37 Denix and can crash in the instant. You won't make a dent, so you won't make a difference. Great change gon' come. Of course I bear arms, I'm the new Shogun. Crack a nigga head like it was a cold one. Leave the screen pitch black like the sky with no sun. Fuck paying dues, now I think I'm owed some. And fuck a percentage, man, now I need the whole sum. Always keep a bitch, that be down the whole sum. Got me grabbing on her ass like, mommy, let me hold some. Dancing with the devil, well, it can be so fun. Hitting every rhythm, literally your toes numb. X-Mark spot, only G's, no. Digging through the treasure, got me with these gold thumbs. I'm a beast, I'm a dog, I'ma guide you. You was riding waves, I was circling like a Raichu. You was looking for me, then I popped up right behind you. But I never trail, no fail to remind you. Bitch, go through. Homie, you ain't looking at me, cause bitch, I ain't looking at you. I ain't never paying no mind, I already paid my dues. It's glitch, gang, 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 gang. glitch in the system. If you blink when he did his thing, then you missed him. Rebel king, a handful of rings, you could kiss them. R.I.P. the lay you 6 feet if you diss him. There's a glitch in the system. If you blink when he did his thing, then you missed him. Rebel king, a handful of rings, you could kiss them. R.I.P. the lay you 6 feet if you diss him. There's a glitch in the system.
Fuck yeah. Well, Logan, once again, thank you for hanging out. You are fucking awesome, man. This one's for you. You have a great rest of your night, and I look forward to the next time. I look forward to the next time we get to hang out, man. Hopefully we can do this again and talk about some of the fun you've had in between then and now.
Thank you. We were supposed to do this a while ago. I don't know what. I can't remember what happened.
I had to take a hiatus for the summer because I was playing shows with Hyloxilus, and then I was working festivals, and it was just a matter of I don't have enough time. That whole knowing when to put something aside for your own sanity so that you can get through the stretch.
Yep.
With that, thank you again for being patient, because I know there's a few people that were getting ready, and I had to be like, no, I'm sorry. I need to put this on the back burner for a little bit. I will be back, and we will have you on. So and with that,
you can always pick it again.
100%. So cheers to you, my friend.
Thank you, man. Cheers to you.
Enjoy the rest of your night, man.
You too, man. All right, peace.
Peace.